Hello and welcome to Research Methods. This is video 9. Today we are going to see chapter 3, Research Design. I am Balai. When we come to definitions of research design, the difficult problem that follows the task of defining the research problem is the preparation of the design of the research projects, popularly known as the research design. Decision regarding what, where, when, how much, by what means concerning an inquiry or a research study constitutes a research design. A research design is the arrangement of conditions for collection and analysis of the data in manner that aim to combine the relevance to the research purpose with economy in procedure. A research design is the conceptual structure within which a research is conducted. It constitutes the outline for the collection, measurements, and analysis of the data. The design includes an outline of what the researcher will do from writing the hypothesis, and it is operational implication to the final analysis of the data. More explicitly, the design decisions happen to be in respect of what is the study about, why is the study being made, where will the study be carried out, what type of data is required. The other, where can the required data be found, what period of time will the study include, what will be the sample design, what techniques of data collection will be used, how will the data be analyzed, in what style will the report be prepared. This is what is a research design consists of. Keeping in view the above stated design decisions, one may split the overall research design into the following parts. The first one is the sampling design, which deals with the methods of selecting item to be observed for the given studies. The second is the observational design, which relates to the conditions under which the observations are to be made. The other part is the statistical design, which concerns with the question of how many items are to be observed and how the information and the data gathered are to be analyzed. And also the operational design, which deals with techniques by which the procedure specified in the sampling, statistical, and observational design can be carried out. By having this, let us come to the important features of a research design. The important features of research design include it is a plan that specifies the source and the types of information relevant to the research problem. It is a strategy specifying which approach will be used for gathering and analyzing the data. It also includes the time and the cost budgets, since most studies are done under the two constraints. Components of a research design. In brief, a research design must at least contain a clear statement of the research problem, a procedure and the techniques to be used for gathering information, population to be studied, and methods to be used in processing and analyzing the data. Particularly, the research design component has to define the informational needed, design the exploratory, descriptive, or others, specify the measurements and scaling procedure, construct and pretest a questionnaire interviewing form or an appropriate form for data collection. Specifying the sampling process and the sampling size. Develop a plan of this data analysis and the like. Selecting the study design. Different designs have been classified by examining them from different perspectives. The first one is the number of contacts within the study population. The second, the reference period of the studies. Third, the nature of investigation. These viewpoints are random basis of classification, hence, the terminology used to describe them is not universal. Note that the design with each classification category are mutually exclusive. That means, if the particular study is cross-sectional in nature, it cannot be at the same time before and after or longitudinal studies. So if it is cross-sectional studies, it should be cross-sectional, not at the same time using longitudinal studies. But it can be non-experimental or experimental, as well as retrospective or prospective study. We will see those in the future, what is retrospective or prospective studies and the like. The study design based on number of contacts. Based on the number of contacts with the study population, design can be classified into three groups. That is cross-sectional studies, before and after studies, longitudinal studies. The cross-sectional study design. The cross-sectional study design are also known as one-shot or status studies. These are the most commonly used design in social science. This design is best situated to studies aimed at finding out the prevalence of phenomena, situation, problem, attitude, or issues by taking cross-section of the population. These are cross-sectional with regard to both study population and the time of the investigation. Cross-sectional study extremely simple in design. You decide what you want to find out, identify the study population, select a sample if you need to, and contact your respondents to find out the required information. It would be the most appropriate for study of the following topic. The attitude of the study population towards foreign investment in Gamo in Ethiopia. Determinants of the student's academic performance at a given university and the like. When we come to definitions of research design, the difficult problem that follows the task of defining the research problem is the preparation of the design of the research projects, popularly known as the research design. Decision regarding what, where, when, how much, by what means concerning an inquiry or a research study constitutes a research design. Before and after study design. The main advantage of before and after design, also known as pre-test, post-test design, is that it can measure changes in situation, phenomena, issue, problem, or attitudes. It is the most appropriate design for measuring the impact or effectiveness of the program. It can be described as two sets of cross-sectional data collection points on the same population to find the change in phenomena or variables between 2 points in time. The change is measured by comparing the difference in phenomena or variables before and after the intervention. A before and after study is carried out by adopting the same process as cross-sectional study, except that it compares two cross-sectional observations. the second being undertaken after certain periods. Depending upon how it is set up, the before and after study may be either an experiment or non-experiment. It is one of the most commonly used design in evaluation studies. The difference between the two sets of data collection point with respect to the dependent variable is considered to be the impact of the program. The third one is longitudinal study design. The before and after study design is appropriate for measuring the extent of changes in phenomena, situation, problem, attitude, and so on, but is less helpful for studying the pattern of the changes. For that, we are going to use longitudinal study design. To determine the patterns of the change in relation to time, a longitudinal design is used. Longitudinal design or longitudinal data, or called panel data, are data for multiple entities in which each entity is observed at two more time periods. Example, when you wish to study the proportion of the people adopting a program in relation to the time. Longitudinal or panel studies are also useful when you want to collect factual information on continuing basis. For example, you may want to determine the trends in the demand for labor, migration, changes in incidence of diseases, or the mortality, fertility pattern of the population. In longitudinal studies, the study population is visited at a number of times at regular interval, usually over a long period to collect required information. These intervals are not fixed, so their lengths may vary from study to study. Intervals may be as short as a week or longer than a year. Irrespective of the size of the intervals, the information gathered each time is identical. Although the data collected is from the same study population, it may or may not be from the same respondents. A longitudinal study can be seen as a series of repetitive cross-sectional studies. Longitudinal studies have the same disadvantage as before and after studies, in some instances to an event greater degrees. In addition, longitudinal studies can suffer from conditioning effects. This describes a situation where if the same respondents are contacted frequently, they begin to know what is expected of them and may respond to questions without thought, or they may lose interest in the inquiry with the same results. This is the end of today's program, and I thank you for your views. Please, if you like, subscribe to my YouTube and share. Next time, we will learn study design based on a reference period. My YouTube channel is like this one. Thank you very much.